Live, going live. Hello. Oh, I was waiting for it to tell me I'm live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special 250th episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Neil, and I'll be your nerd. You are live or not. How is everybody doing? I am great. I am going to put a caveat right at the very beginning of this live stream. In typical Steel Clan fashion, our modem / router pretty much is on its last legs, and we had a complete collapse a couple of days ago. Yesterday, we got it going, and we have upgraded materials coming to us soon. So there is a very distinct possibility that my live might become a little robotic at times. I apologize ahead of time if that happens. Hopefully it will not. But new hardware is on its way, and I have asked everyone in the house and all of the other machines, and I have this machine. I have put all of every other window and service and app and everything that it could possibly be draining off of the meager, flimsy bandwidth that my router is putting out right now. Everything is not drawing off of it, hopefully, if all goes well. So hopefully we will not have a problem, and it will be great, because I also have other things to do online later today that I hope will not be problematic for everyone involved. Okay, so real fast, weekend Bryan. Painting-wise, I got a painting / hobby. I got a printing commission from a local that I have been working on, and the file is weird. Whoever made the file for this, he wants me to print a present for one of his friends, and I have been working on it. But the file that he got is not only like teeny tiny as far as like the dimensions that they have when they scanned the object, but it's also on this gigantic platform, which has created some issues with my slicing. I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure out how to make it go. I did print it once at a gift size, and some of the details are very, very thin and flimsy at that size. So I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure out how to make it work. It's an interesting challenge, but hopefully we will be able to take care of this guy in the future. I painted some D&D figures. I painted the tempered sorcerer rider for my fire drake. It's not quite done, but it should be done probably by the end of the weekend. And that's about it. Primed a ton of models for Gamehole Con, which is next month. And yeah, so hobbying, there's been a lot of. Game playing, not a lot. Just playing some video games really this week. A little bit of play testing here and there, some stuff. Got some good Xeogenesis in actually just a couple of days ago to test a few things in that system to make sure that we are doing it correctly. Which actually, that reminds me, I need to send that report over to the owner of that company. Yeah, so it's just been good. A lot of video gaming. Obviously, I wanted to be able to play a couple nights ago, but then the internet freaked out, so not a lot of gaming there. I've been going through my Magic cards recently because I got the Magic bug. I want to play some more Commander soon. Oh, I got some messages. Korok says, "Woo, lunch break, Bryan." I'll have my lunch break after this live before I dive into other stuff. And then Matt says, "Hey, Bryan," with a wave. Hi, Matt. Miss you. Yeah. So gaming has been just a lot of work stuff, but not a lot of fun stuff for me. I was supposed to have a session of a game where I play my halfling drunk monk. But that ended up getting rescheduled for a couple of weeks out, sadly. So that isn't going to happen this weekend like anticipated. But it does give me a little bit of opportunity to kind of tie up a few things with a bow before I head out, because next week, you're hearing it here first. Next week, I will not have an episode because I will be in Toronto shooting a season of a streaming game. More on that hopefully in the future when I can talk more on it. But yeah, I'm going to be one of the regular members of a streaming actual play. And so they're flying me out to Toronto next week, where we are going to play an astronomical amount of game in 4 days. And when the season becomes a thing, you'll get to see it later. So super excited about that, but for multiple reasons. So I'm going to have a lot of gaming to talk about, but I won't be able to give spoilers because it's something that actually is broadcast on a professional channel. So none of that. Let's see. What else? Personal, things are great. No need to really go into it there. Things are doing really well. Other than my internet freaking out. So things are solid on that level. Professionally speaking, I've been finishing up on all my game hole prep because my goal is to have everything ready for game hole by the beginning of October. So I do not have to scramble at the end of the month when it's time to go to that show, which I'm super excited about for that show. Not only are most of my special events sold out already, but just getting to see everybody and getting to play and getting to do some more camera work there. It's going to be great. I'm excited. I love that show to death. Warzone's great. We dropped a few new units into the playtester pool for them to start testing and playing, and some adjustments to existing playtested units. We're seeing how that goes, and a lot of the reports we're getting are following in suit to kind of what we expected. So as a designer, that's always nice to see. Waiting to get the final okay back from Heroic Signatures before I can start taking pre-orders on the tournament kit. But the goal here will be that we will get that set up, and hopefully, if all goes well and Heroic gets back to us, I should be able to start taking pre-orders on the tournament kit, hopefully by the end of the month or beginning of next month, meaning that when the coins arrive from China, or rather, when the coins arrive from Norse Foundry from China, I will be able to start putting the kits together and getting them shipped out for the people who go ahead and pre-order. So super excited for that. Already talked about Xeogenesis stuff. Shadowrun writing is always going well. Evil Genius, we had a very, very good meeting earlier this week to talk about some very cool stuff. Intergalactic Heroes actually is coming along wonderfully. I have 2 playtests scheduled for later today, live playtests with some of the Discord members, where I get to put them through some interesting scenarios to test their playtest characters to make sure that some of the balancing factors are just fine. And in fact, one of the groups, I'm not saying which ones, because they might be watching. One of them gets to test a new weapon property to see if it works out and if the math on it works like I think it should. So things are good. Things are. I'm very happy. I'm in a positive state of mind, apart from my internet freaking out and one of my dogs being mostly an outside dog now because he just can't stay inside for very long without making messes. Things are good. One of my closest and my brothers from another mother, him and his wife are having a housewarming tomorrow, where I get to see their new pad and wish them merriment, which is good because their old house, while it was a really nice house, the neighborhood was savage. It like American drive-by savage. Like, it was bad. And so I'm glad that they're in a safer place, and I'm looking very forward to seeing their new home. Yeah. So I managed to get the Week in Bryan, smashed it out live in under 10 minutes. What the heck? Never happens. Let's talk about stuff. 250 episodes. I would have never in a million years thought that this would go this long, that I would have sponsors, I do wish that my subscriber numbers were higher, but I love the subscribers that I have. I seem to have a nice, loyal audience. I look forward to getting to show and talk to people for the next 250, and potentially beyond. If all goes well, we'll have new cool stuff to look at and show off and talk about as time marches forward. But yeah, so I'm just it's a little surreal. 250 episodes, plus the occasional special episode, plus the couple of videos I've done when I was running my Spelljammer game before Spelljammer was back in 5e. Just a general. This is really as an outlet. It really has made me very happy. It has been a way for me to get things off my chest, a way for me to pontificate about things without being interrupted and feeling judged for my opinions. And sometimes it's a way for me to sort out the thoughts rattle around in my head. So from me to you, thank you very much for all of the interactions and you guys being a part of this, and all the inspiration that you have helped with. Just great. It's just great. I mean, we've done a lot. We've talked about different DM things. We've been through a couple of different edition changes of games. We've talked about miniatures games, board games. I mean, it's been really, really fun. And that sounded very final. It's been very fun, but I'm leaving. No, I do wish that I had a better schedule to know super ahead of time everything I'm going to be talking about and doing and all that. But it is it's hard sometimes to nail all that stuff down, especially because in our industry, things happen so fast. And sometimes the next best thing pops up, or a topic happens, and by the time I get a video made, that topic is no longer the topic in the room. Social media moves at the speed of plot. So I do hope to be able to line up a few more interviews. I know there's a few people that have said that they want to come on the show to talk about things. I know there are definitely a few people that I want to get on the show to talk about things. It just depends on timing and structure and all the various random things that need to get handled. I know I want to get my dear friend Tommy from Six Sides of Gaming. If I could nail him down long enough to talk about stuff, he's got some very, very cool things happening with the Evil Dead and Army of Darkness franchise coming around. I believe in October is when he's going to start launching stuff with that. So maybe I can get him to come on the show and jaw a little bit about how cool all of that stuff is, and maybe collectively we can convince him to let me help because I love that franchise. And money, paychecks are nice. Yeah, so that's I just wanted to kind of this is an informal chat. You know, the questions, if you have any things you want to talk about, topics you want to talk about, throw them in the chat. I am very excited for. I mentioned about Gamehole is the next big thing right around the corner for me. As a show, I love that show to death. It's super well run. This particular one, I get to do some cool 50th anniversary D&D like special events. Alex is having a lot of the special guests be DMs for these special events. I'm excited about that. They're just little hour-long slots, very basic, setup. You have pre-generated characters. It's a pretty straightforward. Meet your character. Character does the thing. Come do the thing. Do the thing. I know that makes no sense, but you know what I mean. It's designed to be a little snack chunk of D&D to help celebrate the 50th anniversary of the game. And I'm very fortunate that I get to run a couple of those while I'm at Gamehole. I am running 2 sessions of Intergalactic Heroes, one in a made-up universe that is not really IP specific. It's just kind of a fun idea. That one sold out completely. And then one that is actually set in our Intergalactic Heroes universe, the Throne World Saga, which is our actual IP. And that one I think still has a couple of seats left, or at least had at least one seat left. And then I'm running some Surviving Strange Hollow. I'm running a Strange Hollow adventure. I had a meeting with the Strange Hollow guys, the Accidental Cyclops guys, earlier this week to talk about what I'm putting in the adventure. And it highlighted that there's a handful of monsters that I want to put into the adventure. Shock and awe, gasp. There's going to be monsters involved. But there's a few monsters that I wanted to put in the adventure that don't have stats yet. So kind of in the middle of that meeting, we made the decision to have me go ahead and create these monsters for the book. So that was cool. I get to make some Strange Hollow critters. I'm not going to say which ones because you might be watching this and getting to see the critters that you will encounter. But rest assured, it's going to be a fun adventure where the players will be second guessing some of the things that they see. And most importantly, they will get to see some of that Dark Crystal-esque, cute but dangerous that Emily, the artist who created Strange Hollow, that Emily baked into so many of her creatures. So I'm very, very excited. Plus, I get to play some Shadowrun at Gamehole on stage, and I get to play at least once. I get to play as Nuggle. I haven't played Nuggle, my Bryan from the Imerian Knights world, the Legacy of Mana world. I haven't played my iconic character. I haven't played Nuggle in almost a year. In fact, I think it might be Gamehole last year. It may have been the last time I got to play Nuggle. So I am super psyched to throw my bear ears on again and go be comedically simple but pragmatic. Nuggle is nothing if not pragmatic and entertaining. And he's just the spirit of the room. And then of course while I'm at Gamehole, I got a couple of meetings lined up. I have one meeting lined up with a bunch of my writers that are a bunch of freelance writers, not my writers. I'm not taking possession of them. That's silly. We got a bunch of my writers, or I said it again, a bunch of writers that I am putting together to do some Intergalactic Heroes writing next year. So very excited to talk to them about what I want out of them. And when that can start coming together. In at least one of technically it's one meeting, but one of the people in that meeting I'm very, very excited to get to work with directly, in the fact that we've kind of danced around each other in several circles, and we've been on a couple of panels together, but we've never collaborated on something. So me getting to grab her and be like, hey, please put this together and do something awesome with your your amazing skills makes me very, very happy. And I hope that meeting goes well. I see we've got a couple of new faces in the that are watching. Let's open the floor to the whole point of this is to celebrate the fact that this show is happening and ask me, you do the AMA ask me anything thing. I'll answer to the best of my ability. But I also will not allow there to be a bunch of dead air because nobody likes that. And especially YouTube doesn't like that. Way to get shoved down to the bottom of the algorithm is just sitting here staring at the camera being like, please talk to me. Yeah, let's see what else. I received the mail just today. It's not finished yet, so I don't want to show it off, but I received the second part of the trophy for the Warzone annual. So I did. Not everybody. Hello, Agnes. Not everybody knows because not everybody's here for Warzone. But at Adepticon every year, we have got it set up to do. We have it set up to do every Saturday night at Adepticon, which is only one Saturday night. So every year at Adepticon on Saturday night. That's a better way to put it. We are throwing the Warzone annual, like the actual annual tournament. And the winner of that tournament will then help us decide what one of the units that we are going to be designing, kind of basically allowing some of the units that are in Mutant Chronicles / Warzone to kind of bump the queue and become, I want this in my army as soon as possible. That's the big prize. But we didn't want it to be an all or nothing thing. So I went ahead and put together a trophy, kind of like a Stanley Cup for Warzone Eternal, that when you win, the winner get the prize to be able to help us decide what's the next unit. But then also there's going to be a plaque, a little plate that goes on the tournament, or that goes on the trophy that says the year that you won, but it's going to be for the first and second place. Kind of like how the Stanley Cup has got, all the winners listed all the way around it year per year per year. We want to do that for Warzone Eternal to keep track of all the people that have helped us from the very beginning to make this the game that it is. So I've created, I did some 3D printing and bought the trophy stand and everything to create a Warzone Eternal annual trophy that will keep track, basically immortalize the winners to be part of the Warzone Eternal process. And there's enough room on the trophy base that we can do this for many, many years. Oh, we have Adam Thaxton says, I don't know, I'm looking forward to the playtest today. Adam, you're in the playtest. I only know people a lot of times from their Discord handles. So who are you playing? I'm glad that I didn't give up any I didn't give out any spoilers that I know of. Riley, oh my god, so Riley's in the chat. Riley is my one of my oldest and best friends. In fact, for all the people who have been here and have seen seen or heard about my kiddo, Riley was instrumental in helping Connor in his infancy / toddler stages, while I was trying to keep my head screwed on while still working at like Privateer Press and Mongoose. If it wasn't for Riley, I probably would have completely melted down. And newborn those first like 6-8 months are real rough, and it was really because of Riley that I made it through without turning into some kind of weird recluse or serial killer. But Riley's question, however, I digress. Are there any plans for other IPs for Intergalactic Heroes? So yes, the plans right now is we're still talking to people until IGH gets off the ground and becomes actually out in the world. We're focusing on the Throne World Saga because you got to have something to build off of. Unlike Everyday Heroes, which could be, it can be a perfectly generic base because everybody knows the modern world. It's right outside your window. Everybody plays humans. barring things like Total Recall and stuff. But like you're generally speaking, Everyday Heroes is extremely a normal background and setting of a game. It's just boop, it's normal, actioned up, of course, but it is still we know what that world looks like, or perhaps at least the basis of that world. With Intergalactic Heroes, it's a lot harder if we want to include things like alien races or special technology types and stuff, unless you want a 500-page book that covers absolutely everything. Starting to enjoy that rule set, we will then start to be able to grab other IPs and attach it in the same way that we attached the cinematic adventures to Everyday Heroes. What those are, it changes from week to week. Literally, Dave, my boss over at Evil Genius, he's got a lot of really, really good connections through the different movie production studios and all of that. So there's a lot of really cool conversations happening, but there's always that opportunity that you start that conversation, and then because you're starting something that might not happen for 6, 8, 10 months, sometime during that thing, the entertainment industry is something else. And so you never know, you might start a conversation and then 6 months later, that company gets bought out, or somebody came to them and was like, we want to make a video game, or we're going to make a straight to DVD movie. And so now suddenly everything changes, all the different legalities and the royalties and who are you talking to, all of that stuff changes all over the place. So it would be irresponsible for us to start saying, yeah, we're already looking at this license, we're looking at this license. It would be nothing but vaporware, because until the ink is dry on the page, there's no way to know exactly where we want to go or where we can go with those extra, IPs. Now, I know there's some that I would love. If I was able to, if someone just like, here's your magic wand, you get 3 IPs, and they can't be Star Wars and Star Trek, like it can't be the big daddies, like some of the other sci-fi roundabouts. I know I would love to get something like I know personally I would absolutely love Galaxy Quest. If that could even somehow gel. I love it's the right kind of feel, and I think it'd be a great supplement book to kind of lean into the comedy factor. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I would love, especially in light of the most recent Netflix Terminator anime. I would love to be able to do something with the Terminator series. Probably not make player character Terminators. I know a lot of people would want that, but I think it might be a little much. But I think it could be a very cool universe to work in, especially if you've really focused on like the actual war against the hunter killers and make it more about surviving in the apocalypse. Have I read the sequel comic? The sequel comic to Galaxy Quest? I didn't even know there was one. Well, now I know I get something I got to try and find. I didn't even know that was a thing. Oh, sweet, Adam. I'm putting it on my list to try and locate. Awesome. Never give up, never surrender. Absolutely. Yeah, so I would say like Galaxy Quest. God, if there was another, I wish the guy who owned the license and the star of the show would not have revealed himself to be such a interesting individual. But Andromeda, I loved that series all the way up until the very end, where the last season you could tell that things kind of got a little surreal. I loved the style. I loved the species, the interactions. I thought Andromeda would be an amazing world setting. Sadly, from what I've been told, Kevin Sorbo owns the licensing rights, I believe. and lately he has been difficult. we'll say we'll say he's been difficult to work with on lots of levels and difficult to watch spiral as he does. Um, but I digress. I think as a world setting, if I could divorce his relationship to it to just the narrative involved, I think Andromeda would be great. Ice Pirates. Oh yeah, Ice Pirates would be great. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Especially, it's. I mean, they're getting. Or no, that's Time Bandits is getting the reboot. But no, Ice Pirates would be awesome. Even if you couldn't get the Ice Pirates, uh, like just the license, running a game. Maybe next year I'll do an Ice Pirates convention game. Call it like Water Raiders or something. But yeah, no, Ice Pirates that's a good one. Matt says, I'd love to see Starship Troopers make another return. You ran the Mongoose one so many times. I loved work with, so I was at Mongoose during the Starship Troopers era. I did some work on that game. I did a bunch of work for the miniatures game, which would be actually hilarious if we could get Starship Troopers for Intergalactic Heroes. It would basically be like a 15-year, it all comes full circle. Bryan's back in the Starship Troopers universe. In fact, so because most recently there was a video game, Helldivers 2, that quite obviously is very, when it comes to like the bugged planets, it's very Starship Troopers in feel. Like there's a lot of homage being paid there. At least Starship Troopers, the movies, not necessarily the book. And when I sat down, I was like, one of the things that I want to do is I really, really want to do a scenario that is basically Helldivers 2, which is why I have been doing. I've been painting so many bugs because I'm doing Heck Divers 2 at GameholeCon, which is going to basically be a Starship Troopers / Helldivers convention style session. So I'm very, very excited for that, and I would absolutely love to be able to sink my teeth back into Starship Troopers. That was a lot of fun back in the day. Waterworld. Ooh, good. That's not a deep cut because it's a pretty popular movie, widespread. But no, that would be a great setting to be able to do a lot of aquatic optional rules, a lot of stuff. Heck Divers 2. Oh no, not again. So it actually in the write up for the adventure, it's Heck Divers, TOO. So I didn't want, originally I was going to do just Heck Divers 2 with a Roman numeral, but it occurred to me that I didn't want people to think that it was actually a sequel to something else. So I did the (2), Heck Divers 2, Heck Divers also. Starship Troopers Extermination, the video game, launches on October 11th. I thought I saw some ads for that. I'll probably grab that. Hope do we know if it's on Xbox? I do 95% of my video gaming on my console. Adam says, that reminds me of the thing that always bugs me about Starship deck plans for RPGs. They never have remass or water tanks in them. They're just apartments. Yes, you are correct. There's not a lot of living like life support type things in the living quarters. It's always off camera or whatnot on those maps. I like to think that some of those big pipes and conduits, it's just carrying waste. That's all it is. Riley says he'd like to run a Babylon 5 homebrew with IGH. Oh, that would be good. Babylon, man, I again, goes back to my Mongoose days. I ran a long-standing Babylon 5 game. Hell, Riley was in it. And that was a lot of fun. What a great universe. Even with some of the weird stuff that came later on and some of the add-ons that Straczynski added, dealing with his own personal issues and throwing them in at the end. It was a really good universe. That would be another good universe to be able to attach to IGH and find a way to make those species and different origins and things. Heck Divers 2, everyone loves tea, specifically liver tea. I see what you did there. Matt says it's got crossplay. Well, the fact that it's going to be on the console, I'm sure I will probably. It's Starship Troopers and on my Xbox, that'll happen. What is the status of the Mutant Chronicles RPG license? Last I had heard, it is not because it's not actually. Heroic Signatures, I believe, still is the one that puts it out. As far as like they possess it. The people who are doing the like Luna City Noir. The RPG that's based specifically on like the Luna City streets. I don't know if they're I don't know if they actually possess the license or if they're just basically creating an offshoot through Heroic. I don't know. I don't know the status on that. That would be a weird meeting of the my Venn diagram would be very weird if I could somehow get Evil Genius to get the Mutant Chronicles to do with IGH. That would my Venn diagram would overlap dramatically, but would be very cool. I would love to do that. Primer. This time it's in space. The hard sci-fi setting that also requires the GM to track who's a timeline double at any given moment. Woof. Man. Who's a double in any that would be I think it'd be great for a small like that kind of style of doppelgangers, clones. I think that could be a really cool like small game, like a small number of people. I haven't heard anything about the Luna City thing in a while. Yeah, I haven't seen the updates from it in a while, but as far as I know, they're still working on it. Love to see a Saga Universe RPG. Saga Universe. Is that an anime? I don't know if it's one that I know. Yeah, I don't know. One of my favorite tricks is to hand everyone a note that says you are not the doppelganger. So, funny story about doppelgangers. One of my favorite on-screen, like on a live stream moments was when Keith Baker backstabbed me. We were sitting. He was literally sitting just on the other side of the game master, sitting right next to me, and we're talking and we're doing our thing. It was a Spelljammer-ish session, and we're on the deck and we're fighting against these raiders. And in the middle of the combat, it's literally like a between initiative steps. It gets to Keith's turn, and I'm going to try and do Keith's Fox Rogue. Let's see if I can do his voice, because Keith does a very squeaky fox. It's like, yes, on my turn, I'm going to take out my dagger and backstab Nuggle. And he leans over and like taps me on my shoulder. And the legitimate, not dread, but the legitimate surprise of, wait, what did you just say? And he's like, yes, does an 18 hit you? And I'm just like, wait, hold on a second. Did you stab me just now? And he's like, well, yes. And that was the moment we didn't even know that there were doppelgangers on board yet. That was like it was literally, as far as I was concerned, I thought Keith was doing it as a bit. I thought he was, revealing his character to be some kind of gnarly traitor. And we're like, okay. And then like, a round later, someone else got knocked out and they turned into their doppelganger form. And like, it all just sort of came I felt it was a matter of shock and unexpected. Like it was great. I love doppelgangers as a potential threat, but in a one-shot game, especially on camera, where the players just suddenly become, Devin was handing out notes, and some of the notes were very much it's too hot in this room. Like, just little to cover up the fact that the notes that he was passing, some of them are, your character's been incapacitated, you are now a doppelganger. Please act accordingly. He was to cover up that those notes were not always nefarious. Some of the notes that we were getting were, like I said, it's too hot in the boiler room. Okay. Or, your feet are tired from standing all day. Okay. Yeah, so it was really cool. It was a very, very fun stream. And it was actually because of so the Six Sides of Gaming guys, they do at their conventions, they do a design a module live streams where they basically get the audience to help build build a session, build a small little one-shot adventure. And then at the end of the convention, they gather up a bunch of us goofballs to play through that module. And in this case, the audience was like, no, you got to do doppelgangers, and those doppelgangers have to be able to turn into clowns. And there was a lot. It was a lot. But it was a lot of fun. And literally, I've had lots of good one-liners, and I've had lots of good moments on camera. But that was my first legitimate shock moment. Like if there could be a still taken of my face at that moment where Keith says my character's name, I'm going to backstab Nuggle. I legitimate just complete surprise, caught me utterly off guard. It was awesome. Korak says it's a comic series. Alien parents from two sides of a war that have a kid and are on the run. There's a neat TV head. Oh, people with like a TV for a head. Okay, they have TV for a head, or they're just like their mind is all TV phrases. Please expand. Dark Siggy, which by the way, hi Siggy. Generation Zero miniature game or RPG might maybe confused. Generation Zero. I'm not familiar with the term. Is that an anime? Adam says they have a TV for a head. Okay, weird. Like Arnim Zola, like kind of thing, or you know what? I will jot down the Saga comic. I will get some reference to what you're talking about. Their head literally is, literally TVs. The TV model seems to suggest social structure. They emote through images. Oh, geez. Okay, weird. But I like weird. Weird is good. Yeah. Generation Zero is a video game with robot apocalypse stuff going on, heavily influenced by Simon Stollenhag's art. Generation Zero. Wait a minute. I think when you put it in a like get my mindset to think about video games, I think I might know about that. That sounds familiar. Now that it's a PC game. You fight robots in the late 80s. Now, is it from the late 80s, or is it's a more recent game, but it takes place in the late 80s? Cormac says it's an MMO. Cool. No, I'll absolutely take a look. It's set in the late 80s. Okay. Yeah, cool. No, Generation Zero. I'm writing down all kinds of stuff here. It's cool. Gen Zero. Neat. Oh, man. Yeah. So what else do we want to talk about? We've got about another 17 minutes or so before I've got to call it quits because I've got playtesting to do this afternoon. Tales from the Loop and okay. Oh, okay, cool. Neat. I will take a look at Generation Zero. That's cool. It makes me very happy. I love one of the things I love the fact that all these little nods and suggestions and things are coming up, because it does it shows that for something like Intergalactic Heroes, we're really hoping that people will be able to start using that core rule set and that core book and maybe coming up with some stuff on their own. I know Dave is really big into third-party people building off of our stuff, coming in and making their own modules and their things. So I would love to see, even if obviously legal stuff aside, if somebody's like, I want to make a Generation Zero IGH module, there's nothing stopping them apart from obviously not calling it that, but you could create that in every kind of like I was talking about the whole Heck Divers 2 thing. Obviously, I don't have the license to Starship Troopers, and I don't have the license to Helldivers 2, but I'm making a scenario that is so unbelievably influenced by those things. The players that are sitting at the table, they can instantly kind of put themselves in that world and in that setting and get themselves in that mindset. And that's what I'm hoping for. Oh, hi, Michelle. I haven't seen you in one of these. Little party face. Fifth Element. Fifth Element would be good too. I will. Here's my. Watch my viewership drop off. I am not a massive Fifth Element fan. I think it's fun. It's neat. It's a fun movie. I don't think it's all that good, but it is fun. And if I was given the opportunity to play in that universe and build something with that universe, I probably would, because I know it has a really strong fan base. Hashtag canceled. Yes, exactly. Suddenly people are going to be like, "Oh my god!" But I enjoyed the movie. I think it's neat. I'm glad that I've seen it. I've seen it several times. Actually, just recently watched it with my kid recently. But it is. I think that there are much better sci-fi media moments out there that don't have things in it that make me look at my phone or, hey, this is the moment that I can go and do something else. Because I run into that. Chronicles of Riddick. Oh my gosh. So the fact that you bring that up, Chronicles of Riddick, because Vin Diesel is very, like, he's part of the ownership of that license. I don't know if you know that. Like, he actually is. He has a stake in the license itself. And I have tried now with 2 separate companies to reach out to his agents to find a way to talk to him, because I would love. I mean, like, go back to what we were talking about, the whole magic wand for licensing. You just hit it on the head. I think Chronicles of Riddick universe, it screams for an RPG, and I think IGH would be perfect for it. I just don't know touch with him on a level to be able to have that discussion, start talking about possibilities. If anybody knew how, I would love that information, because that would be an amazing universe. It is realistic enough in certain places that you can have a gritty space crew. You can have an entire game based around one of those prison blocks, one of the slams. In fact, the whole shine job on the eyes that Riddick has, that is something that is included in one of the classes of Intergalactic Heroes. Like, that modification exists, because and 100% no shame, completely taken because of that movie, because of Pitch Black. You said a few months back that you had something related to Rebel Moon. Oh, Cormac, because Cormac, you generally know me from my Warzone Eternal stuff. So the Rebel Moon as a license, we with Evil Genius, we were contracted to do the Rebel Moon role playing game, and we worked alongside Zack Snyder and Netflix for about 6 months, helping him build his universe, helping him, like, that was what we did. And then some things happened. We ended up having to litigate, and there was a legal settlement involved. Netflix got to keep the licensing, or keep the narrative. We got to keep the rules. And then I've taken those rules over the last 8 months or so and turned them into Intergalactic Heroes, turned them into first off, put our own setting on top of it, but then also make it more about more of a generic tool set instead of specifically built for Rebel Moon. So it's definitely a different game, and obviously a different setting. But yeah, it was actually some of the most flattering and humbling stuff, getting to work with Zach and his team on some of the alien races and some of the planets and stuff. It was amazing. I know a lot of people give Zack Snyder a lot of hell, but it was absolutely it was the gig that brought me to Evil Genius. And I will never forget those meetings, and some of the conversations that we had, and getting to work with someone like Snyder, hands down. Is there a Matrix RPG? I'd be surprised if I think there was. I think there was a Matrix RPG, or there was going to be one, but it didn't come together. I don't know. I know there's not an active one right now. That could be a very fun setting, because you could have two character sheets. You could have like your in the flesh character sheet, and then the in the Matrix character sheet. I don't know if it would work very well for Intergalactic Heroes, because of it might require a little bit more of its own engine to do something like that. But it'd be a cool world. Whenever we watch the third Riddick movie, afterward we decide which of us is playing which character in the movie's RPG. Exactly. Is you 100%. That world screams, that universe. The Furians, and the Necromongers, and you've got all of these. Like, you can tell that Vin has, because Vin's a big D&D head. And he obviously has some of these ideas rattling around in the back of his brain that you could easily insert that this is a party. This ship's crew is totally a gaming party. Yeah, no. John Wick RPG would also be cool. Funny story. The John Wick RPG, there idea behind a John Wick RPG. There was a long standing. I don't know if it's still going. It may have wrapped up. But Eric Frankhouse at Frankhouse Productions was doing a long standing John Wick role playing game using Everyday Heroes, and it worked wonderfully. He did an amazing job, really leaning in on the atmosphere. And then as the movies came out and revealed more, and the prequel series, and as that stuff came out, he was able to even flesh out his world even more. I don't know if there'd be enough new rulesy type things to warrant it being its own like cinematic adventure. But I would love to see more on the setting, to be more of the background, more of the rules of the different continentals, and what exactly does a marker buy you. Like I would love to be able to see someone get to dig in deeper with that. But in the meantime, if you're looking for something fun, actual play, look up Eric Frankhouse, and look up or you might be able to just go on the YouTubes and look up John Wick Everyday Heroes, because I want to say he ran it for like almost a year and a half, and it may be, like I said, it might be ongoing. It might still be going, or went into its second season, maybe. I'm not sure. But Eric's a hell of a GM. He GM'd for me at I played a game of The Crow, Everyday Heroes, The Crow, at his table last year at GameholeCon, and he's a great game master, and he gives out Frank House points. I don't remember. There was a term for it, and it's basically like a special version of inspiration that he does that lets you spend it to do something remarkably like over the top and like super action style. So it's very cool, and you should check it out. Yeah, if you get an opportunity to go find his stuff. Yeah. All right, we got about a little bit over 5 minutes left. Let's get one last good topic to chit chat about to help put the final touches on the 250th episode. 250. I can't get over it. 250th episode. Also, knock on wood, super glad that my internet's held up this whole time. Whatever I did made it be nice. Now, hopefully, it will stay nice for my playtesting sessions later, because that would be tragic to every roll initiative, freeze. Not that every playtest session is going to be filled with combat, because obviously that's not. We know combat works, but there probably will be some. Shh, don't tell, because one of the playtesters is in the chat. Yeah. So, what else? Looking forward to that. See you at 6:30. Oh, you're the second session. All right, Adam, that will be fantastic. I believe your session is. You guys are negotiating with some smugglers about selling your fancy stuff. Yes. Awesome. Yeah, because the first session are dealing with some Solvasti raiders, which funny story, true story. The Solvasti were an origin that almost made it into the player's guide. They were supposed to be. What is your favorite species and class in the IGH system? Ooh. In the player's guide, I was about ready to just talk about the Solvasti. They are probably my favorite aliens collectively. They do not have player character stats or origin stats until the Game Master's Guide. Game Master's Guide will include player how to play a Solvasti as a player character. They are probably my favorites. So we're not going to talk about that because they're not an option in the player's guide. Why would I do that? But in the player's guide, my favorite origin is probably, honestly, I love the Acrididans. They are insects. They are based kind of like on grasshoppers. They are not a hive mind. We want to try to avoid that. They're also not carnivores. They are grasshoppers. They can eat some decaying organic, some decaying animal matter, but it's mostly just like fungus and grasses and ferns. One of their primary species benefits is because they literally can chew on bark and cardboard, and if it's got any kind of cellulose in it, they can chew it down and store it in one of their crops and gizzards. So their survivability out in the wild, as long as they have access to a pine cone, they don't actually need to eat or drink. They're extremely when it comes to create the frontier. They can explore as long as someplace has some plant matter that they can shove in their mouth parts. But I really like the Acrididans. I think they're probably my favorite. Followed up probably by the Gabar. The Gabar are mountain goats. Not really. They do have a big bony on their forehead for headbutting stuff, because I'm not going to make a game that doesn't have a Pachycephalosaurus style species. I mean, it's my favorite dinosaur. But they're not reptiles. They are kind of leathery, maybe some light fur in places. But their big thing is Pachycephaloklingons. That, Adam, I love you for that, because that is absolutely dead on. They are a hardy, muscular Pachycephaloklingons. Holy crap, that's perfect. So they are a headbutting race. They do a lot of contests with their use their bar, which is the bony crest. But the other big thing about them is that they've got these cool. When we get the art back, I'll get to show them. They've got basically 3-fingered hands, very thick, very very thick digits. that have they're called hoof nails, hooflets. So instead of having a regular fingernail, like the whole end cap is basically like a hoof point, and that's on all of their digits, plus on their big fat feet, because it makes them basically do the mountain goat climbing thing. They're in unlike like D&D Tabaxi that have climbing claws. These just guys they do that. I love the magical, almost magical mountain goats that cling to the side of cliffs. I have always been mystified by how the hell do they do that? They just I found like this one spot for this hoof and this one spot for this hoof, and if I lean this way, the wind can't even take me off of this cliffside. I wanted to emulate that with one of the species. So they come from they naturally evolved in a very cliffy, fjords kind of environment. They're very clannish. They have always, for a long time, they kind of stayed to themselves. And then in the last couple of generations, they found, they have utilized space travel more. And because of that, they tend to be very superstitious. They're away from home. The world is super weird. And one of the things that we're going to lean into a little bit more when you get to see some of them in the narrative is their planet, the place that they come from, they eat a lot of like grain and grass and lichens and moss. They do a lot of like pragmatic, I'm here, I exist. This gruel is great because it does everything it needs from all my bodies and my muscles and all the amino acids. Yay for protein. But it doesn't necessarily taste good because that's not the point. So when a Gebar goes out and sees the universe and like I will eventually make a Gebar character who's like addicted to sugar, like legitimately, goes out of his way, spends money and hoards it like it's a drug, because that's just not something that they've ever really messed with a lot traditionally. It's just not something that's super important to them, is use over flavor. And so when they get out there and the first time that, imagine that first time that someone who's never had a milkshake before, they get one. It's going to be a life-changing moment for them. And they never want to go back home because the world is filled with so many cool things. So yeah, I'm very excited about the Gebar. I think they're great. This is gratuitously indulgent, and quite frankly, it's disgusting how hedonistic your people are. I'll take 3 pounds of the chocolate bars. Precisely. Adam, you totally should have played a Pachycephalo Klingon. And then I know I got to get going here, but then my favorite class, I like the Myrmidon quite a bit. It is it's the tough hero class because it's Constitution heavy. That is all about basically as you progress in the class, you have body modifications. Not quite like cyberware, which we also have rules for, but it's more like almost like bionics and genetic alterations to yourself, that you lean in very heavily into the body as a temple, but this temple is under construction. And you get to do some cool things that there's a little malleability, but also there's some just class talents that are just straight up, it's definitely a combat class, but it is you are slowly adjusted over time to be a better super soldier is really what it comes down to. Speaking of super soldiers, I actually also really like the trooper as a class. Just a solid, it's a soldier that is very much designed for frontline warfare. Trench works, frontline. You are one of many dropship style soldier. And I think that's gonna be a fun class for a lot of people to play too. All right, I have officially got to go. We are live. We went over, but this was awesome. Thank you so much for everybody that came out and chatted. Thank you, Adam. I'll see you later for the playtest. But thank you more than anything. Thank you for Pachycephalo Klingon. I will never forget that. and it's amazing that that is a thing. So let's see, how do I sign off on a live? Everybody be safe, wash your hands, get your shots if you have to, wear a mask if you're in a place that you think you need to, or if someone has asked you to. Don't be a jerk. Don't lick doorknobs. Just try and leave every place that you go a little happier than when you got there, and I think it all works out. So until next time, till episode 251, which will be in 2 weeks, because I'm going to be in Toronto next week shooting stuff. So in 2 weeks, I'll see you again. Until then, have fun and play some games, because you know I'm gonna. Bye, guys.